action. This is Garry Kousoulou and the Optician Show, and I am joined today by a friend. And if you watch this to the end and you're an optometrist, you're a practice owner, you will be inspired. So we were at the Optician Awards, Mohamed.
Yeah, hi. So, Garry,
you were up for an award. Tell us.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I didn't expect it. I was like thinking, okay, let me have a go. Let me apply. I applied for two, the Myopia Management and the Technology Awards. I didn't read the brief about the Technology Awards because it was about technology in the industry. So, of course, I didn't get through that. But the Myopia Management Awards, wow. I mean, it's just amazing. I can't believe
we're going to get there. We will get there, right? But for me, when I interviewed...
I was against people like Brian Tompkins and, I mean, realistically, yeah, again, someone like Brian Tompkins, I'm not expecting myself to win because, I base my clinic and on seeing what he's done. So I do see that there are masters.
We're going to get to that.
People out there.
We're going to get to that. But you see, a great podcast starts through a story.
Yeah.
And first I need to ask, I've been your friend, I've known you for 20 years. What do your friends call you? Do they call you Mo or do they call you Mohammed, or do you got a nickname?
So my friends call me by my second name, which is Ayyaz. So there's different ways of saying it. It's, anglicized, it's Ayyaz. Asian way is Ayyaz. So, that's what the closest people to me call me. Is,
yes. So there you go.
But I use Mohammed because it's so much more easier.
What do your patients call you?
My patients? Well, either it's Mohammed or Mr. Kasmani, because it's easier for them, You get a few who say Dr. Kasmani, but of course, optometrists are not doctors. So I do correct them.
But
I do think we should be called doctors, but hey, that's a school of Moaz Nanjiwani there speaking.
A running theme of this podcast is I always ask my guests, what is the first memory you have of being in optics? Like, do you remember why you got into it, how you got into it, your first memories? Let's start there and work our way backwards to the awards.
So, I was 9 years old.
Wow.
I was in junior school and I couldn't see the whiteboard, or in those days, as we call them, blackboards, right? And I said to my mum, Mum, I can't see, right? So she took me to S.H. Harrold's in Hayes. They were the guys, they were using ophthalmologists as their, to carry out their eye examinations. Finished off. This was, mind you, 1986 or 87, I can't remember, around that time. And guess what they bought in front of me?
What did they bring?
Your NHS frames. And, I got to select one. Heavy glass lenses, black frames, Ronnie Corbett style. And guess where they used to sit?
Go on.
On the desk next to me, and I didn't want to wear them. They were ugly. They were ugly. But at the same time, my uncle, my dad's brother, he was the first optometrist in Kenya. So he studied in Bradford, and that was back in the early 60s. So when we visited Kenya, he examined my eyes, and I got a lovely pair of small aviator frames with transition lenses. He went all sorts.
It would have been photochromic back then.
Photochromatic, yeah, not transition, photochromatics. And I used to wear those. So it was a complete change around. The moment of where I realized I needed to wear my glasses, we went on safari and my mom was saying, look, there's a lion. And I couldn't see anything. She said, where are your glasses? I left them at home. So that was it. Glasses became a part of my life. That was a year and a half after being prescribed. Now you can imagine, in that time, how did my myopia progress? I might have been -1 at the start. By that point, I would have been -2.
In your application to the Optician Awards, did you put this story down?
Actually, I didn't.
You would have won it, because I have been the judge of awards, and we get a lot of entries, right? Those human stories are what the judges love, and I really want you to apply again to controlling myopia, because that's what gives you the edge. The fact that you really care. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of optometrists and dispensing opticians in my career, and I say to them, "Why do you want to be an optom?" And they say, "Because I couldn't get into pharmacy." I'm literally switched off. They literally will not get it. If I hear a story like that, I'm hiring before they've even got to the end of what they... Because what I didn't realise, Ayyaz, is that my passion for optics, I assume everyone else has got it. I assume that people love what they do, and they don't. Our industry is full of people that fell into it, don't really like it, the money's good, it suits my lifestyle, and they don't like it. Yeah. You and I are so passionate about what we do, and we care, and I think that shows. And what you don't realise is how passionate you are.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, sitting opposite you know, and you get someone who tells you about it, I think there's a lot of validation in that. And it is one of those things, you know, you have heard of the term, get stuck in the weeds, we come into practice, and, you know, you're there working away.
I haven't heard that. Can you explain that saying to me? I'm
stuck in the weeds is that you're getting...
I'm stuck in the weeds.
Stuck in the weeds, you know, you get into your day-to-day tasks, and, you know, and it's something that also happens with anyone working. I mean, when I applied, one of the main reasons I applied was my uncle's son. He went to America. He studied optometry there. He left from Kenya, went to America. My dad was the one who also encouraged me. He said, "Look, I'm a pharmacist. You don't want to be standing on your legs all day long. You want to have a good life, and you know, you want to be helping people in a different way, helping them to see, helping them to look good."
You come from a healthcare background, so your dad is a pharmacist.
Yeah. So we're you know, in the family, the medics, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, you name it.
And do you really believe, hand on heart, optics is better than all of those?
Me? I believe that optometry is the cream of the crop when it comes to it, you know? Because, look, if we can't see, what can we do? What can we do? You know, at the end of the day, we get doctors coming to us, and is the doctor going to be able to operate if he can't see? No. Can a pharmacist count the pills if he can't see? No. You know, at the end of the day, 85% or whatever that statistic is always going up and down of everything that we learn and we do comes from our vision. Patients come into us. I would like to lose everything and anything. Oh, no, sorry. Let me get that right. I wouldn't like to lose any of my senses, but if there was one
people fear it.
Really want to keep, it's my
people
sight.
Fear losing their sight, and that is something that, like, for me, fashion, mixing them with healthcare and people, I couldn't think of a better profession for me. I love it, and you cannot go wrong. So if you are watching this and you're not a healthcare professional, or you want to look out more about Ayyaz, where's your practice?
So I'm in Felton, West London, just south of Heathrow Airport.
West London,
on the opposite side of you, Gary.
Nice. So we go back, before we get into the present day, where did you do your pre-reg? How did you get into optics?
Okay, so like I was saying, when I was applying, there were two options. My dad's a pharmacist. Do I apply for pharmacy? And pharmacy was going through quite a bit of a turnaround. And he even said to me, he said, "Look, don't go into pharmacy. It's really not great. You're standing on your feet all day long, etc." And he said, "Look, your uncle's an optometrist. You've seen what he does. He goes into work, comes home, he gets time off, he's helping people, etc. That's the profession to look at." And I went in and I did further research, did my work experience at SH Harrold's in Hayes. And again, at that time, I was looking, well, you had two routes. You had the choice of becoming a dispensing optician or an optometrist. Now, my cousin Ros Musa, who you probably heard of, right? She's a dispensing optician. So again, I spoke to her. She goes, "I had the chance to become an optometrist, but I really enjoyed dispensing." And at the point of it, I said, "Well, I actually want to be more medical in what I do." and decided to apply for optometry. Of course, I was doing my
Thank God you did. Thank God you did, because you see, we go to meetings on a Sunday where we could be with our family. We're going to improve our profession, our knowledge, and 9 times out of 10, I'll see you at something like that. Like,
exactly.
Thank God you are part of our profession. You're a cornerstone of the profession. So thank God you're in there. So where did you do your pre-reg?
So pre-reg was at Mohamed's eye practice in Tottenham. So
another legend.
Another legend. Mohamed Ayyaz Kasmani. And of course, why did I could have gone anywhere, but as soon as I again did work experience with him, and why did I choose Mohamed Ayyaz Kasmani is because at the end of the day, he also thinks holistically about eye care. He's not thinking just about, his biggest point was, we are not chasmawalas. Chasmawala means, spectacle salesmen. Because no, we're there to help people. We're there to look at the overall, overall medical state, etc. And the eyes tell us a lot. And that was what inspired me. At the same time, he was also, in his practice, it was beyond anything I've seen. What was he keeping? He was keeping friends at Casal, a taxi. He was going to Milan and Silmo to bring in eyewear. So he also understood the case of helping people see well, look great in their eyewear. And, it's like you and me. At the Opticians Awards, I believe 2 of us had the funkiest spectacles on, didn't we? Someone came up to me and said, I love what you're wearing. The guy who was sitting next to us from JFRA, he said, I love what you're wearing. Everyone else here, what's going on?
And I look at your frames, I think that's a perfect frame for that RX.
Yeah.
Like I look at the beauty of everything. It fits you well, it sits well, it's straight. So many opticians I see and they're wearing wonky glasses. I'm like, let me fix them for you.
Exactly. And these are minus 950s, right? So, when you think about it, they're Tokai, thin and light, 1.76. Absolutely ideal. I've not worn a metal frame for probably about 15 years.
Really suits you. Very, very nice.
I've got.
So now we fast forward a little bit to say the point of where you were brave enough to own your own practice. I love practitioners that want to start their own practice because they want to do things differently. I traveled the world. As soon as I finished my pre-reg, I said, I'm going to go and work in opticians everywhere. Australia. I don't know many people even know that about me. I worked in Australia, in America, in New Zealand. I traveled the world, and I'd go into opticians and I'd knock on the door and I'd say, can I work here for free? And they said, what? I said, I just want to work for a day. I want to see what it feels like. Even to the point of there was an opticians in LA, and they had just got Limburg and they didn't know how to adjust them, and I felt so good that I knew how to adjust it and I was there. So I just wanted to, when I came back, I thought nothing that I want exists. What was it that inspired you to go alone and think, right, what I want is different. What I want to make a difference. You tell us about that.
So really for me, the thing is that when I finished my pre-reg, and one of the reasons I went to Moez to do my pre-reg as well was, from the beginning, I always wanted to have an independent practice. Even when I was back at university, funny thing being is that when they had the eyeball, I was awarded the first person to own a practice. That's what they expected of me. That's what they saw in me. Say, yeah, we don't see you working, for ages and ages and ages.
So nice.
And so I worked with Boots for a year in Watford, and it just felt like I was on a conveyor belt. And people didn't know me. They didn't understand me. I was, I felt again like I was a refraction machine. And granted, I learned a lot. You see pathologies, you see patients, you get faster with your skills. I thought, this is not for me. I really do want to set up on my own. And within a year, with financial backing of the year and a half of qualifying, that's what I did. And the case being is that my friend's dad, who was selling his practice in Felton. Now, I didn't want to look at anything too far away. I wanted it to be local.
Makes sense.
Because at the end of the day, we are local people. We want to help people who are local.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Side of Heathrow, that the practice became available, and it was.
Do you remember back then? How many days were you testing?
Well, actually, I was working about 3 days a week, and then locuming 2 days at that time.
And would you give optometrists approached me and they say, look, Garry, I'm thinking of opening a practice. I'm going to locum a few days a week. I want to go. I talk about them burning their boats. And if they're gonna locum, do it on a Sunday and just build that business. Don't muck around. And you're rare, but you bought a practice that was existing. If you're listening to this, and this is just my advice, and you're going to start a practice from scratch, and you think you're going to locum 3-4 days a week and build this business, it's really difficult. If you're going to locum, buy a practice that is exact. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it's really difficult not to be there every single day and not have any database. Would you offer that same advice, or?
So this is what it was, is that when I initially took it over, I was locuming 2 days a week, then it broke down to 1 day a week. And within 6 months, I had an uncle of mine who was in financial management, etc. And he said to me, he goes, Ayyaz, you're running your own business, be there all the time. And that's what I did then.
Game changer.
And so I was there. And the thing being is that way we could be there when a patient did come in. My biggest issue was that I didn't know anything about marketing. And that was the biggest failing of my journey, is you're going in on a cold start. You don't know how to get patients in. You don't know how to approach patients. You've spoken about the E-Myth, right? By Michael Gerber. I wish I'd read something like the E-Myth before going into business, because that would have actually given me a lot more inspiration on what I need to do. I mean, the whole thing being is I thought, well, I'm in Boots, I'm doing all of this, I can do this for myself and do better. But the whole concept of build it and they'll come doesn't really work unless you market your business and you offer yourself as an alternative and you differentiate yourself as a different practitioner.
I boil this down. Maybe I'm simplifying it. I have always been a person that sees opportunity. So I can see the opportunity of walking into Tesco's, someone's glasses are wonky, and I give them my card. That's an opportunity. Lots of people don't see that opportunity. They don't think, well, if that person's a local person in front of hundreds of new customers and their glasses, they get them from me, they might tell them. I see the opportunity of networking. I see the opportunity of social media. I was the first optician in the world to have Facebook, as recognized by Meta. But where I'm not is opportunistic. So somebody with dementia walks in and it's £1,000 dispense, right? That's wrong on so many levels. So many. That is opportunistic.
Yeah.
Opportunity and opportunistic, there's a grey area too. But that's where we lack. We don't see opportunity. We're risk averse. So something like something like this. This is amazing. It's the Ishihara test.
Yeah.
Up until now, we test. There's not much we can do. Like, amazing. We have a solution. We have a solution to so many things, and we have a solution to controlling myopia. Like, what a segue.
Exactly. And 100% agree with you there. And this was the whole thing about it is, again, going into practice, my whole purpose behind it was I want to help people. I want to help people who are local. I want to give them an alternative. The whole idea of understanding and testing eyes every 20 minutes, did I feel I was giving them a service? Did I feel I was doing something right? No. This is why I wanted to take, my destiny into my own hands. And when patients come in, I wanted to see them, give them longer eye examinations, give them the service that they deserve. And you know what? I've been in practice now for 25 years. Yeah, when they talk about that your patients come and go, right? Majority of my eye plan patients have been with me for that 25 years. They've not gone anywhere else. I've got patients who've moved all the way up to Lincoln. They still come down to see me.
And the fact that you've even mentioned the word marketing, because those that haven't read the E-Myth, it splits business into 3 departments. Finance, charge the right amount. I go into practice, those that don't know, I go into practice, I help improve holistically the whole thing. They haven't updated their price list for 5 or 6 years. The Zeiss rep might not have caught hold of that. Like, you're losing money. Like, things have gone up a lot. If you're an Essilor customer, you know what's happening in January. They do it every year. So finance, charge the right amount and get paid. There's lots of opticians out there that they're so kind. They say, oh, it's fine, don't leave a deposit. And that patient never comes. That's not good. Finance. Yeah. Operations is the smooth running from the minute you make an inquiry to the minute you leave, and then the follow-up. And marketing is keep your patient and get a new one. And this is a really good book to read if you haven't, but I've just given you that synopsis of that. So I really love the fact that you care about that. And you've maybe seen lots and lots of change over the years of running a practice. But let's bring ourselves up to speed right now. Okay, I've got a schematic eye. I'm just going to grab it. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the research of controlling myopia, because this is your field. Hold on, let's try and get this controlling my... Where is my schematic eye? Bear with me. It's here. I can hold it every day. Where on earth is my schematic eye? Aha, here we go. Right, okay. It was right in front of me. All right.
Oh, I love that, Gary.
It was behind. I should
bring my one along as well, you know.
So here we go, parents out there, optometrists, watch carefully. If you don't recommend this, they say that there'll be legislation and you will get in major trouble for not recommending it to children. I have seen optometrists, like children -1 at 8 or 9 years old, and they're not recommending. They're saying, come back in a year, we'll see how we go. This is wrong information. So wherever you're watching this throughout the world, we're gonna talk today. We're gonna talk now about science, not wishy-washy business. Science, okay? So let's start with the length of the eye. It's 22.22 millimeters long, okay? Yeah. Now, what happens if we're short-sighted, if we're myopic, is 2 things. Either this lens here is too weak, or your eye's too long. Yeah. Over to you, optometry. You're better qualified to talk to us about this than anyone else.
Yeah, so basically what we're looking at is, let's say you're seeing a 7-year-old or so, and they're about +0.75. That's about the right prescription for them at that age. If a child comes in and let's say they're plano at 7, and I'll give you an example. I examined my little one. I cycled him. He's 3 years old, and I got him at about +0.50. I'm going to be keeping a close check on him, right? Because the risk of developing myopia at that point is a lot more higher, right? Now in our practice, we're able to measure axial length. So there are 2 things out of it. Is that what are we trying to do? We're trying to control the length at which the eye is growing. Yeah? The first thing is that we're going to tell them is that they need to cut down the use of their devices, control their near vision tasks. That shouldn't be detrimental to their education, of course. I mean, one of the biggest things which really winds me up is that, in schools these days, everything is on devices. Homework comes along, it's on devices. I mean, in Scandinavia, I think it's in Sweden or Finland, one of those countries, they've seen that there's a high use of devices used. They're going back to pen and paper. And
can we talk about the study in Alaska, if you're familiar with it?
I'm not studying.
This is one of my favorite, because whatever your intellect, like patients that are more sophisticated, we say to them that there's now a solution to your child not being short-sighted, especially if they were a -10. Mum and dad are a -10. They know what it's like. You can't even make it to the toilet without glass on. The less sophisticated patients that are not going to go and do the research, I say to them, in Alaska, it was owned by Russia, and before that, it was like owned by Alaska, and then America bought it for £1.
Yeah.
Not everyone was illiterate in Alaska. Like it was just a fishing place, a hunting place. They didn't have devices, and myopia was next to nothing, right? So then they started to teach the children to read and write, and 40% of the population became myopic. That study is so powerful. And you can say that to people. Before humans were reading and writing, we're not actually that good at close work. We're really a much better at distance.
Yeah.
And Australia, because they spend more time outside, there's loads and loads of studies. And for the more sophisticated patients, I say that the word you're looking for is controlling myopia. Go out there and do your own research. But this is this is real.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we do. So the first step, for instance, when we're talking about myopia, we've got our own booklet designed, and we use Optometrist software. So what we'll do is we'll put the figures into Optometra as the prescription is at that time. And Optometra...
Who makes that, by the way?
Optometra is its own company. They were set, you know, the researchers are based in Ireland. Who is his name? Sorry, I can't forget.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Karina McDuff. I know her, and she's who I deal with, and she's absolutely superb, because if I've got any issues or need to talk to her about it, she's really helpful. But what happens is we input in their age, their prescription. If you can measure axial length, it measures the axial length. If you don't have a biometer, you can, to measure axial length, you can put in the K readings and it'll estimate it for you. I've never used that feature because, of course, we measure axial length in practice. And from there, it creates a projection of where will my child be as an adult? How do they see now? And it gives a simulation of how they can see. It gives us an idea using percentile graphs to say, okay, if we're measuring axial length over time, where are you on that percentile graph? Is the myopia management effective? Is it not effective? So we can actually now even add on data coming along. So that plays a massive part of my myopia management clinic, because each time a patient comes in, I'm mapping along to see where they are. And it's great to show the patients to say, well, okay, look, you can see that we're having a very, very good impact here, or we're not having a good impact. And the main reason of when we're not having a great impact, what are they doing? They're on devices, even with their myopia management spectacles. Are they wearing their glasses all the time? So these questions come into play. Are they getting that 12 hours of having the myopia management correction? So, even for instance, you'll have children who are in my site or in natural view or myelotoric. We were one of the first practices in the country to be offered myelotoric. And that was a game changer for me, because children who want to wear astigmatism and wear contact lenses and want to be corrected for astigmatism, we could do something about that. And I've got children with -250 astigmatism that we're able to correct now, who don't want to be in spectacles or want to play sports.
Mainly girls?
Both, boys and girls.
I've always found my whole career, it's girls when they get to be teenagers, they do not want to wear their glasses. And how do I know this? They come back a year later and their glasses are in pristine condition. Never left the box. Look, please look out for that Optoms and DOs. I see it and I question the young person. I was like, do you even wear these? And they look at me. These clues need to be uncovered and discussed. It's like when you're a contact lens wearer and they're non-compliant. They come in and their eyes are massively red. How many hours do you wear your lenses? And they're like, I don't know, 6, 7. Let's talk about that, shall we?
No, but I mean, coming back to Optometra, what I do is I email it to the parents. Ooh, so it's something lovely for them to have, right, on their file. And each time they come in, we're building a bigger bigger project for them. And the other thing about it, said, well, okay, are you happy with that form of treatment? Do you want to, try another form of treatment? Let's see if that works. And as you know, low dose atropine it's coming, right? And Moorfields have been doing a study, so we're going to be working hopefully with.
Are you really?
Hopefully working.
Wow. Because I was at BCLA, and the lady came along, and she's a Filipino. I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name, but she claimed it, not me. She said, I'm the world's expert right now on controlling myopia. And she had my attention.
Really?
I'm like, she's really short. She's only like 5 foot. I said, you really got my attention here. And I said, what's the number one tool we should use? She said, atropine, of course. I said, well, in the UK, we don't use this. She said, you guys are crazy. It works. So that usually, whether it's an ophthalmologist or an optom or anyone, they turn their nose up at atropine.
Yeah, well, I refer to my eye clinic to John Bulger for atropine management. So you must
be the only person in England to do that.
I think there are a few others who do, but
there's not many.
At the end of the day, if you're not giving every single solution,
I agree,
that's available, then you're not really offering, the full. The full options.
How cancerous is this chemical that we're putting into our children's eyes? Because that's always my worry with the atropine. And I don't even fry. I don't know about you. When I'm frying, I don't even want a non-stick pan. Like when I'm drinking water out of a bottle, there's a reason that one in two people have got cancer. I really don't put things in your body you don't need to.
Low dose atropine is safe. I mean, look, at the end of the day, until the optometrist formulary was changed, optometrists could, use atropine. It was removed, right?
Rightly or wrongly?
Sorry?
Was that right thing to do?
In a way, I think it is, because if you go along and you had a normal dosage of atropine and carrying out cycloplegic, that child's going to be blurred for a week, 2 weeks or so. You don't want to be doing that. So it was made ophthalmology and hospital use only. However, the concentration of low dose atropine is so low that the effects are in terms of even I don't believe they feel cycloplegic effects. But we're talking about combined therapies then. So you'll have children on low dose atropine and Stellest or Myosmart spectacles. You'll have children on low dose atropine and ortho-K. So you want to make the biggest impact there. You have to, at the same time, despite having all of that, you need to have the external factors in play. You need to have the right working conditions. You need to be telling children, spend time outdoors. For me, in my practice, my first point of call when I want to talk to patients is orthokeratology, because
she said that too. She said, if you're not going to use if you're not going to use atropine, at least do ortho-K. So that was her second thing.
But we've got limitations with ortho-K, right? We've got limitations with spherical
and parents' budget
lenses like my side, and budget. I mean, in a way, I find that ortho-K has the best budget for helping manage myopia, right? It's great for the environment. You're not filling in, landfill with loads of daily disposable lenses. You got one lens. We offer a 6 month or a 1 year replacement, and you can go on label. You can go off label. If you're going off label, let the parents understand this is off label. We're doing overnight vision correction.
Can I just say that is why we're independent? Like we are a real independent. When you go to the bank and you get a mortgage, this is not independent. Like they only do Lloyd's mortgages, right? So you go to an independent mortgage broker, it sees the whole of the market. You come to an independent, we can get Rodendock, Zeiss, whatever it happens to be, but the one that we really believe that is best for you. So I love that. You make me so excited to talk about being independent. Imran Hakim was asked at the Independence Day, what do you believe is an independent, and he sidelined that and said, well, let me ask you. So he didn't even answer it. But what in your opinion is an independent?
Well, what's an independent is I've got the choice to do what I want to do, to choose. I'm not restricted by anyone. I haven't got someone saying to me, look, I want to invest in my practice. Yeah, I'll make the decisions, but I haven't got someone saying to me, well, yes, you can buy this. No, you can't buy this. I haven't got someone saying to me, you want to get an OCT? Well, you can only choose two.
The computer doesn't agree. Like, the computer doesn't agree. I went into a practice recently and had a member of staff that was trained by Scrivens, a member of staff that was trained by Specsavers, a member of staff that was trained by Vision Express. And the patient came in and they said, are my glasses ready? And she checked the computer. She said, oh no, they'll be ready in 2 days. And the patient left. And I said, what's next? She said, that's it. She says it'll be ready in 2 days. No. You work in an independent. Phone the lab. She said, I don't even have the lab's number. I said, what? So phone the lab. She phoned the lab. The first experience of phoning the lab. Then she phoned back. If you're watching this, you're an independent optician. We're not run by your PMS system. Like, it means independent. It means breaking the mold, putting that patient first. You've got me on a topic I really love. So we'll go back to controlling myopia.
Yeah. No, so in terms of it, you wanted to ask, in regards to what do I think really got us to the Opticians Awards, right? And I do believe it was our access of using Optometrists, but that's not the only thing, right? I looked into, I first heard about myopia management back in I think it was 2012 or 13 at an AIO meeting, and the whole thing being is that they were saying tell the children to get outside, but there was not much of an explanation of it. And it was like, yes, they need UV light. I said, 1 minute, you're saying that they need UV light, but we're telling children protect your eyes from UV. That was still a bit of a concern at the beginning. Then came along a meeting or a lecture by Ian Cameron at, again, another independent, at 100% Optical. And he said, this is the future of optics, myopia management. Go along and look up Kate Gifford, look up myopia profile. And from there, go to the Brian Holden Institute. So what did I do? I looked up Brian Holden Institute. And the first thing I did was do the Brian Holden Institute Myopia Management Certification, because I had no clue what it was about. And as soon as I did it, my first ortho-K patient, young patient, came in and that's what I said. I said, well, actually, this is what I've learned, is that your child is looking at orthokeratology. This is a way forward for you. It is off-label, but I can tell you, having done the myopia management certification from the Brian Holden Institute, Vision Institute, they have turned around and said, look, the efficacy of managing myopia using this process is really high. At the moment, there aren't any spectacles. The next game changer came, fitting my sight. Not everyone was getting my sight then. But again, like I say, my first protocol is ortho-K. And then came Hoya with MioSmart, and I was amongst the first practices in the country to get MioSmart accreditation. So this is, all of these steps have to be taken in place. And once you've got all the offerings, the world's your oyster. The one thing that I really wish would be part of it is that the NHS would recognize that myopia needs to be managed.
You can't put an e-voucher through?
Can't put the e-voucher through. If you're seeing someone on a scheme, they are on a scheme now. When they look at you being on myopia management, well, what's the ruling for seeing a child after 6 months? They're going to say, well, is their prescription changing? Well, you've got them on myopia management. So can I see a patient on a GOS 3 or on a GOS 1? Sorry, no.
And NHS, if you're
they've got this memorandum of understanding.
NHS, if you're watching, I know that there's this horrible cycle of policy for the government in there, but if you just think a little bit long term, if we can stop people having very high prescriptions, their long-term health is better, so it will save the NHS money in the long run. Do you want to tell us about that? If you're a -9,
risk of high myopia, each stage of a diopter takes the risk up even more. At the end of the day, myopes are risk of cataracts early, the risk of glaucoma, the risk of myopic
Detached retina.
degeneration, the risk of retinoschisis, risk of retinal detachment.
And
Imagine
I love the economy. I love business, right? So if someone becomes blind, it's unlikely, it's not impossible, but it's unlikely that they will be able to contribute as much to the economy. We're preventing blindness by controlling myopia.
But we're still right at the bottom of the chain. You've seen it. What happened with our GOS fees? We've waited 9 months to get a decent increase in the GOS fee, and they've given us pittance. It doesn't. What have we done in the past? 70 years of the NHS, 80 years of the NHS? Where are we? 1948. The Opticians Act, again, 1958, 59, around there. But what was the general ophthalmic services designed for? It was designed for checking the eyes, looking at the prescription, look at the retina, and there you go. What have optometrists subsidized and done over the years? We started off with tonometers, visual field machines. We never charged for that because we felt we need to give a service for the patient. Today we've got OCTs, wide field retinal screeners, in some practices, retinal cameras.
This is tens of thousands of pounds of investment. Tens of thousands.
And unfortunately, that fee is not enough for us to carry out all the work we do. And on top of that, and it's not I'm not blaming any practices, etc., but most practices who take that fee only do a 20-minute eye examination for the purpose is that they need to get the income in to pay their optometrists. You need to subsidize it subsidize the optometrist by dispensing spectacles. And again, that's where you come into it. Are you, is it, the opportunity or what you can do. People will, at times you've seen it. People will try and take advantage of it, which is not something we want to see. We want to look after somebody's eyes.
Your passion. I cannot wait to read the comments of this podcast down below. It's a big topic. You're obviously very passionate. If you live in West London, if you live in Central London, if you live just on the outskirts and you have a child that could be potentially myopic, short-sighted, if you had laser and your husband had laser and your partner had laser and you're -10, the chances are genetics are going to say that your child will be too. So it's all avoidable. Please go and see this man. He's passionate. He was a finalist. He is the right person to look after your children. I say this with real passion myself. I know a good practitioner when I see it. So we're going to wrap up because it's about that time.
Just before you do, coming on about that, and you said if you've had laser, shall I tell you, majority of my myopia management patients, parents have had laser eye surgery.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I see.
Because they understand it. They don't want their children.
Understand the case, and they don't want their children to be at that level.
On a side note,
when the parent is not myopic and their child isn't seeing, you know what I have to do? I say, well, look, let me show you how your child is seeing. You might see on Optometra, you get a set of lenses. Let's say the child is -2, get a pair of +2s, put it in front of them. That's how your child is seeing. Then you take a pair of -4s, say, right, put it in front of them. This is how their vision could be if you're looking at Optometra.
That's so powerful.
Can you see what we want to do?
Do you know, I'm an third generation ethnic minority, right? So I always find when people don't understand or the English isn't so good, I say these are medicated, and it really breaks through.
Yeah.
Is that terminology allowed?
I haven't used the term medicated, but what we have said, and this came through Myopia Chat, which was, developed through Scott Lens, etc. You had, the team at Scott Lens who worked really hard on myopia. And again, the terminology has come from the US of myopia is a disease, right? We talk about dry eye disease, right? But
it's an epidemic. It's okay to say it's an epidemic of global.
2050, half of the world's population will be myopic, right? That is what they're projected. Yeah, that is, we are what, 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world right now. Will be 8 billion by the time we hit 2050, maybe more. Imagine 4 billion people who are myopic. Now, we could turn around and say, yeah, brilliant. This is a great opportunity that every year we'll get them into new glasses, etc. This is not about getting them, you know.
And this is an everybody thing. Like, if you're an optometrist,
it's about preventing medical issues with the eyes.
And it's about everybody contributing to this. The receptionist, the Saturday kid, the technician. I think that this shouldn't be just from the room. We should all be talking about this. This should be a discussion. Not when I see optoms not talking about this, I think, wow, my toes curl. This is an important thing. Can I ask you a question very quickly, because I know that we're getting to the end. Whenever I see anyone over a -6, I say to them, make sure you don't go on bumper cars. Make sure you never do a bungee jump. And they said to me, what? And I say, no one's ever told you that. The back of your eye is very thin. It can't take trauma. And I think the last optometrist probably assumes that optometrists told them from that before. A retinal detachment is a thing, people. It can be avoided. Like, let's keep those heads. Do you say that to all your patients?
Absolutely, absolutely. I in fact, I'll go even lower. I'll say -4, -5. So you have to be careful because the retina's already started stretching, right? The retina is already elongated at the end of the day. So the risk is going to be there.
Do you know what I used to say? For every time I took pressures, I'd say this is the biggest preventable disease in the Western world, glaucoma.
Yeah.
Like, myopia is the biggest preventable disease in the Western world now. Like, can it take over glaucoma? Next month is glaucoma month, by the way. Could it be? If you call it a disease, it's preventable.
At the end of the day, what is one of the risks of myopia? Glaucoma, isn't it? Right? At the end, we're talking about a prevalence which is just going up and up and up and up. And it's happened more and more. Why? Because at the end of the day, we're doing a lot of new work. We're adapting to our environments, right? As Garry Griffiths has said, in the past we were hunter-gatherers, right? We've all been, industrialized. We've been industrialized to such a point that we no longer have one computer in front of us. We'll have 3-4 screens, possibly, which includes a mobile phone, a laptop, 2 desktop screens. That's the way we're working. My story, I was leveling off at -6. I opened up my practice. What did I do? I was on screens. My -6 continued to develop into adulthood, way into my 30s. I'm now -950.
Wow.
Right? What can we do? There's a massive genetic link because my mum was -6, right? My sister is -950. My dad on the other side was hyperopic with astigmatism. Okay, my brother's taken it. But, what did we do? I mean, like, during COVID, I made sure my children stayed outside as much as possible. So thankfully, myopia hasn't increased. But my eldest daughter, during her A-levels, what happened? She was on a computer. Her prescription went from -050 to -2 overnight.
Wow. Was there a growth spurt? Did she have a massive...
No. She's 18. Growth spurts have stopped.
Wow.
It was because she was like this. Sorry, you gave my bald head there, but that's
I encourage everyone. Please make a comment down below on wherever you're watching this podcast, whether it be Spotify or Apple, whatever. This is a topic that has just begun. Like, when I first started my career, we had an Australian optometrist that would give +050s to people that were -050 as youngsters. Everyone would scratch their head. What are you doing? She was like, there's this new research. Just watch. So I've known about controlling myopia for a while. I think that we should all be as good as you. And I look forward to sitting on a table with you next year and you winning it. That's what I look forward to.
We will do it again, Garry. We're going to do it again,
We're going to do it again.
So much more confidence. And it is such a validation of we are as good as all of these people. You are. Unfortunately, I did suffer with some imposter syndrome. Am I doing it right?
Have you heard of the lens DOT? DOT? Because the last thing she did, this Filipino, I said, so what do you think? Which one's better? The Hoya, the Zeiss, the Essilor? And she scoffed at it. She said, these are all not as good as this lens called DOT, D-O-T. I said, I've never heard of this. She said, yeah, it's not really in the UK much. But take it from me, the rep is called Greg Carhill. He's a nice guy. He'll probably give you a free trial of one. We're independent. We'll see which one's the best.
I'm happy to try out whichever one is going to give us
DOT.
The highest level of myopia management and what's going to work out with patients. You see, one of the things we do is if one method isn't working, let's look at something else. And the great thing about it is, if low dose atropine, if it's coming along, and hopefully it is going to be there, and IPs will be able to prescribe, that's going to be a game changer again. So watch this space. That's what I say.
I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you. I hope everyone that's watched this has thoroughly enjoyed speaking to it. Today we are non-political, but something happened in Bondi Beach. We dedicate today's show to all those innocent people. And behind me you can see there's the Arabic sign, the Arabic eye test chart, the Hebrew eye test chart. Optometry, we're not one way or the other. We love people. You've got to love people to be in this practice, right? So no one's right or wrong. They're both right and they're both wrong. And I know that you're a big supporter of those that are in Palestine, and I know you make no secret of that. I make no secret of that. There are no sides. This has to stop. If you're an optometrist and you're thinking, how can I help this? The window I created, I put one Arabic, one Hebrew, put it in your window. You're not picking sides, but you're saying we want people to have peace. So I'm wearing a Christmas jumper. I wish this is probably the last podcast of the year. Next year, if you want to be on this, contact me. And as long as you love optics, you're good. You're good to go on this. I should give you the last word, sir. I look forward to the next time we catch up. But yeah, you got the last word on controlling myopia and anything else.
Well, I want to actually say thank you very much, Garry. You know what? I said many years ago to you, you're like Brian Tracy to me. And he said to me, he goes, that's a massive compliment.
That's a compliment.
One of the things I've been following you, and one of the other thing is that I'm glad that we're going on a new journey. We're going to be working on social media and further building our profile in our practice. We feel like we're a little hidden gem, and not many people know about us. And I know a lot of independents feel that way, because at the end of the day, we don't have the marketing power, but what we have is our individuality. And from that, I take inspiration from you. That from the first time I saw you on the cover of Optometry Today, meeting you at the Supervision Stroke Alcon meeting at Coombe Abbey. We've known each other for the best part of nearly 20 years. So I want to say thank you very much, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this.
I enjoy your comment. Every time we're together, I make sure that we're going to have a coffee together, a cup of tea.
Absolutely.
You're such a lovely man, and I think that your patients, I don't have to ask them, they love you. And that's one of the pluses of working in this profession.
Yeah, so. It is. They know who we are, isn't it? And what do we want to do? We want to continue to inspire. That's what we're about. We're here to help. That's our job. We want the world to see better. We want the world to be in peace. So, coming to this time of year, I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and also to all of your listeners as well.
Yeah, we love that. Here's some marketing advice. If you're invisible, become visible. So that's the equivalent to seeing 6'4", right? Just become
absolutely.
visible.
We measure down to
don't be 660. That's a pod. This is a wrap. Everyone have a lovely Christmas and New Year, and make next year even better. And let's hope for some world peace, some sanity with our leaders.
Cheers.